My name is Tom. I was 41 when I married Carol, and I didn't walk into a family. I walked into a kingdom that already had its rulers. Back then, I was a systems engineer in Chicago. Comfortable salary. Paid-off car. A 2-bedroom condo with a quiet view of the city and a daughter I raised with both hands. Her name is Haley. She was 9 when we packed our lives into boxes and moved into a house that would never feel like home. Carol was warm. That's what drew me in. Not beauty, though she had that too, but the way she made you feel like nothing in the world could fall apart as long as you were in her orbit. A single mom with 2 kids. Brandon, 15, and Ellie, 12. Their father lived in Utah, had another wife, another child, and sent Christmas cards like it counted for presents. I thought, I can fill this gap. I can love these children like my own. I was naive. The first few weeks were quiet, polite even. Brandon called me Tom, never Dad. But I didn't push it. Ellie was cordial, distant but not hostile. Haley tried to make friends. She brought Ellie friendship bracelets, asked Brandon if he liked comic books. I watched her try with the kind of hope only a child can carry. Unknowing, unscarred. But the air was thick with something unsaid. It didn't take long to find out what it was. The house, it didn't belong to me. Not in spirit. Not in rhythm. I paid the rent, the electricity, the internet, the groceries. I took over their phone plans, their insurance, their endless streaming subscriptions. But it was still their house. Their walls. Their rules. Their way. They never said it outright. They didn't need to. Brandon would borrow my car without asking. Not once, not by accident, but repeatedly. He'd drive it until the tank was dry, leave fast food wrappers in the back seat, toss the keys onto the kitchen counter without a word. I brought it up with Carol. She smiled like I was overreacting. He's a teenager, she said. That's how they are. But she didn't ask him to stop. Ellie used my Amazon account like it was a birthday gift: lipstick, acrylic nail kits, Bluetooth earbuds. The packages arrived almost daily. I asked her once, gently, if she could run it by me first. She blinked like I had spoken another language. Carol overheard. She's still figuring out boundaries, she said. Let her enjoy being a girl. And still I waited. I thought, blended families are slow fires. You tend them. You don't rush them. You let the heat rise on its own. I spent my evenings doing dishes no one thanked me for. My weekends at Target buying groceries and school supplies. My mornings fixing broken cabinet hinges or unclogging hair from bathroom drains. Haley helped when she could. She folded towels, wiped the dining table after dinner. And every time she tried to take part, Brandon or Ellie reminded her, without fail, that she didn't belong. It wasn't outright bullying. That would have been easier to name, easier to confront. No, it was colder than that. Subtle. Perpetual. They called the upstairs bathroom theirs, even though we all lived in the same house. Ellie once told Haley not to use her shampoo, the one I had paid for. Brandon referred to Haley's bedroom as the guest room, no matter how long her drawings hung on the walls. And Carol, she let it happen. She called them just little things. Moments, she said, that would pass. But they didn't pass. They calcified. One Sunday afternoon, I was fixing the garage door. Brandon had slammed it too hard and knocked it off track. Haley came outside holding a list she'd made. She wanted to rearrange the living room. Not for any reason, just to make it feel more even. I smiled. I told her we'd look at it together. Brandon was walking by. He didn't stop, didn't slow down. Just threw the words like a grenade over his shoulder. Why bother? You're just a guest here. We're the real family. I didn't yell. I didn't move. I just stood there, wrench in hand, as my daughter looked up at me with her face folding in on itself. Confused, hurt, small. I turned to Carol. She was folding laundry nearby. Her head stayed down. Her phone buzzed on the table beside her. She didn't say a word. That silence, that was the first crack. It's funny how betrayal doesn't always arrive like thunder. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it slips in through the cracks in the drywall and sits at the dinner table like it's always belonged. From that moment on, the balance was gone. I started seeing it everywhere. At dinner, Haley's comments were ignored. Her stories from school passed over. If she made a joke, Ellie would roll her eyes. Brandon would scoff. Carol would sip her wine. I brought it up once. Not in anger, just confusion. I said I felt like we weren't blending, that there were walls, invisible ones. Carol sighed. They're still adjusting, she said. Don't take everything so personally. But I was taking it personally, because I was giving everything I had, and getting scraps in return. I noticed Brandon's clothes getting more expensive. Nike, Adidas, custom hoodies that cost more than my own shirts. Ellie got a new phone, Haley didn't. When I asked why, Carol said, "It's different. Ellie's older. She needs it for school." But Haley was in school too. She was just quieter about what she needed. Then came the holidays. Carol insisted we spend Thanksgiving with her parents. I agreed, families need traditions. But when we got there, I realized Haley and I had been left out of the photos that hung in their hallways. Dozens of them, birthdays, beach trips, holidays, all without us. One frame had been updated recently. It showed Carol, Brandon, and Ellie in front of our house. Our house, the one I was paying for. Carol's mother smiled at me. "It's so sweet what you're doing for the kids," she said. For the kids. Like I was a long-term babysitter. At night, Haley asked me if we were part of the family. I said yes. I lied to her face, because I didn't want her to feel what I was starting to feel, that we were tolerated, not embraced, that we were useful but not wanted, that our presence was temporary unless we kept earning it. I started coming home later. I told myself it was work. But really, I just didn't want to walk into a house where I felt like a tenant. I was tired of dinners where no one asked how my day went. Tired of walking into a room and feeling it go cold. Once I asked Brandon to take out the trash. Just that. Simple. He looked at me and said, "Why don't you do it? You're the one who wants the house clean." Ellie laughed. Carol said nothing. That's when the hierarchy revealed itself. Not as a structure of love, but of silence. The kids at the top. Carol below them. Me at the bottom. I didn't need to be worshipped. I didn't need them to call me dad. I just wanted a seat at the table. A voice. A presence that mattered. Instead, I was funding a life that was designed to exclude me. Every month, the bills came. I paid them. Every week, groceries. I bought them. Every birthday, I reached for my wallet. And still, the same message. You're not one of us. Not spoken aloud. Worse, assumed. Ingrained. And still, I hoped. God help me, I still thought maybe it would change. Maybe one night, Brandon would say thanks after dinner. Maybe Ellie would help Haley with her homework. Maybe Carol would defend me. But hope without change is just slow heartbreak. And I was breaking. Every day a little more. It happened over lasagna. A Tuesday night, quiet except for the clink of forks and the hum of the dishwasher in the background. Haley had made place cards for everyone. Construction paper folded into triangles. Names in glitter pen. Hers said Dad. Brandon snorted when he saw it but said nothing. Ellie pushed the noodles around her plate. Brandon scrolled through his phone under the table. And Carol. She stared at her screen, nodding absently at whatever podcast filled her ears. No conversation. No warmth. Just chewing and silence, like a dinner with strangers. I come home early that day, hoping maybe, just maybe, it would be different. I looked up. Brandon, can you clear your plate? He leaned back, didn't look at me, didn't even pause. Why? He said. You're not in charge. I set my fork down. Calmly. Carol didn't look up. I asked you to clear your plate. Brandon smirked. You're just Mom's backup plan. Not a real parent. You don't get to make the rules. The words didn't hit like a slap. They hit like stillness. Everything stopped. Haley looked at me, terrified. Ellie smirked. Carol kept scrolling. That was the moment. Not rage. Not grief. Not shock. Clarity. Cold. Pure. Simple. I stood up, took my plate, and walked it to the sink. No yelling. No scene. Just an ending. A decision. Formed in the quiet corners of a soul that's had enough. That night, after they'd all gone to their rooms, I sat down at the kitchen counter with my laptop. First, Brandon's car insurance. Cancelled. I had added him to my policy 2 years ago because he needs to get to school. Let him ask his real dad now. Second, his gym membership. My credit card. Gone. Third, his phone line. I paid for the entire family plan. He was line 3. Removed. 30 minutes. That's how long it took to unravel 3 years of blind generosity. I didn't do it in anger. I didn't delete him from my life. I just shut off the power to his entitlement. Quietly. Cleanly. The next morning I was up early. Coffee brewed. Haley's lunch packed. The sun just starting to slip through the kitchen blinds. Brandon came downstairs, holding his phone like it was broken. Why isn't my phone working? I took a sip of coffee. Calm. Maybe ask the real dad you respect so much. He stared at me, stunned. What? I shut it off. I said. You said I'm not your parent, so I stopped acting like one. He blinked. His face twisted. Confusion, anger, fear all boiling beneath the skin. But he didn't speak. He turned and stormed out the front door. No breakfast. No goodbye. Funny how silent that real dad stayed. Carol didn't say anything at first. She knew. She heard what he said the night before. She felt the shift in me. That stillness. Later that night, she tried to break the silence. Sat beside me on the couch. Her hands folded like she was trying to hold her words together. You didn't have to do that, she said. I didn't look at her. He's used to a certain lifestyle. I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was pathetic. I'm used to respect, I said. Guess we're all adjusting. She flinched. Just a little. Then she said nothing. The next few days were a slow, perfect unraveling. Brandon didn't come home that night, or the next. Eventually, Ellie told us he was staying at a friend's house. He needs space, she said. I nodded. Space was exactly what we all needed. I stopped buying groceries for everyone. No more organic almond milk for Ellie. No more frozen pizzas Brandon devoured in one sitting. I started shopping just for Haley and me. Basic, simple. Enough for 2. I stopped including them in the group chats I'd started, weekend plans, house updates, reminders. I deleted them. Just me and Haley now. She sent a gif of a fox holding a sign that said just us. The kitchen became quiet, peaceful. No slammed cabinet doors. No stomping upstairs. No passive-aggressive commentary. Carol noticed. She kept cooking the same portions, still setting the table for 5. But no one came. Haley and I ate alone. One night, Haley came to me with her sketchbook. She didn't say anything at first. Just handed it to me. It was a drawing of our kitchen. Just 2 people at the table. A girl and a man. Laughter in the air. She titled it, The Warm Part of the House. I wanted to cry, but I didn't. I couldn't afford to feel yet, because something else was brewing. A few days later, Haley sat beside me on the porch. She was quiet, her legs swinging off the edge like she used to do as a toddler. Then she said it. Ellie told me we're not real family. She said we'll be gone soon anyway. It didn't hurt. It didn't even surprise me. I just nodded. Stared out at the yard I'd mowed 100 times for kids who never once said thank you. That night I packed our bags. No warning. No speech. Just action. I didn't take everything. Just what we needed. A few boxes. Clothes. Important papers. Haley's stuffed bear she hadn't held in years but refused to leave behind. I left a note on the kitchen counter. No anger. No threats. Just this. You can keep the house. I'm taking back my peace. Then we left. The house was still warm when we left. I remember locking the door one last time, listening to the silence inside. No apologies. No footsteps down the stairs. No one chasing after us. Just the soft click of the deadbolt sliding into place. I didn't say goodbye to Carol. She didn't try to stop me. We stayed in a motel for 2 nights. 1 room, 2 beds. A kitchenette with a rusted sink and a microwave that buzzed like a dying insect. Haley didn't complain once. She drew in her sketchbook. She asked if I was okay. I told her the truth. I'm better now. She nodded like she understood. like she knew what it meant to let go of something you'd once prayed would last. On the third day, I found a small rental house near the lake. White siding, blue shutters, empty, quiet, perfect. I signed the lease with my own money. No shared account, no joint signatures, no obligations. Just me, just her, just us. We moved in on a Tuesday. That Friday, Carol called. I didn't answer. She texted instead. Can we talk? Please. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I put the phone down and made grilled cheese for Haley. 2 days later, she called again. Then again. Eventually, I picked up, not because I wanted to, but because I needed to hear how the collapse was unfolding. Her voice cracked the second she spoke. Brandon's back, she said. But he's different. I didn't respond. He failed 2 classes. His college counselor says he might not graduate on time. He won't talk to me. Still, I said nothing. Then the real reason came. His father's gone silent again. No money, no support. He won't even answer texts. I let the silence stretch. I wanted her to sit in it. The same silence she gave me every time her children spit in my face and she said nothing. She continued, desperate now. Ellie's struggling too. She's withdrawn. She misses Haley. I almost laughed. The gall of it, the same girl who mocked my daughter now claimed to miss her. People miss warmth only after they've chased it out. Then Carol said what she really meant to say all along. We're falling apart. There it was. Not, I miss you. Not, I was wrong. Just, we're falling apart. I waited a moment. Then I asked, flatly, why are you telling me this? Her voice cracked. Because we need help. I felt it, that flicker of old instinct. The part of me trained to rescue, to step in, to fix the mess. But that part of me was gone. I opened my banking app. I took a screenshot. 3 years of payments, rent, groceries, phones, car insurance, birthday gifts, summer camps. All of it. Total at the bottom. $74,200. 11. I sent her the image. Then I texted. That wasn't a loan. That was a gift. And I'm done giving. She didn't reply. For days. Until the day Brandon showed up. Not at the house, he didn't know the address. He found me at the grocery store. I was in the produce aisle comparing apples when I saw him. Same hoodie, same shoes I'd paid for. Older, more tired. Less swagger now. Just a boy trying to pretend he hadn't burned the bridge he was standing on. He approached slow, like I was a wild animal he wasn't sure would bite. Hey, he said. I didn't look at him. He stood there a moment. Then, you really just left. I placed a gala apple in my cart. You told me I wasn't family. His jaw tightened. I didn't mean it. You said it. You lived it. You made sure I knew it. He swallowed hard. We were kids. You were the adult. You're supposed to understand. I turned to him. No, I said. Adults don't tolerate abuse. Adults walk away from people who treat them like trash. That's called boundaries. He didn't argue. He looked older then. Not wiser, just worn. She's gone too, he muttered. Ellie, staying with a friend. Mom's, barely holding it together. I said nothing. He looked at me then, really looked. You're not coming back, are you? I shook my head. No. He nodded like he already knew. Then he said something I hadn't expected. I didn't hate you. I just didn't know how to let go of him. Of Dad. I kept thinking he'd come back and fix it. I didn't respond. I thought if I accepted you, I'd lose him forever. You never had him, I said. You just didn't want to see it. He didn't cry. He didn't apologize. He just nodded and walked away. I watched him leave. I didn't stop him. He was old enough now to carry the consequences of his choices. The next day, Carol sent one last message. If you ever change your mind, we're still here. I stared at the screen. Then I deleted the thread. Haley was in the next room, painting. When I stepped in, she looked up and smiled. Want to help? I sat beside her, picked up a brush, started filling in the sky. The kitchen smelled like grilled cheese and sunlight. The air didn't feel heavy anymore. The silence in our house wasn't cold. It was calm. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was surviving someone else's storm. I was building something of my own. You don't notice the silence at first. Not real silence. Not the kind that grows in the walls after you walk out for the last time. At first it's just quiet. No slamming doors. No footsteps above you that pause when you walk by. No half-whispered jokes at your expense. Like you're an intruder in your own living room. The air stops bristling. That's how you know it's real. After we left, the silence in our new house didn't hum with tension. It breathed. It wrapped itself around Haley and me like a blanket pulled tight over a bed finally made right. No crumbs in the sheets. No cold shoulders. No invisible war fought through closed doors. Just us. We lived in a small town in Iowa now. One stoplight, 2 diners. A lake that caught the sunrise and held it like stained glass. I found contract work in IT. Just enough to pay the bills. I didn't want overtime. I didn't want promotions. I just wanted time. Time to be her father. Time to feel human again. Haley painted. Every room, every wall. Sunflowers on the pantry door. A whale tail rising from waves on the bathroom tile. A fox with glasses reading a book beside her bed. She named it after me. The wise one, she said. I laughed. For the first time in months. It wasn't bitter. It wasn't forced. It came out of me like something finally released. We grew into this life the way vines grow along fences. Quietly, slowly. Until one day you realize the whole place is green. Saturdays were for pancakes. Sundays, puzzles. On weeknights, we'd make frozen pizza and eat on the porch, even in the cold, wrapped in blankets, watching stars that never seemed to show up in Chicago. We spoke less, but everything meant more. No eggshells. No invisible loyalties. No pecking order with me at the bottom. One night, after brushing her teeth, Haley said, "It's peaceful here, like we're in the part of the movie where things get better." I didn't answer. I just kissed the top of her head and turned off the light. A week later, Carol called again. I let it ring. She left a voicemail this time. The first in months. "Tom." Her voice was shaking, like she was holding it together with both hands. "I didn't know it would fall apart this fast. I didn't think they'd need you until you were gone." Then silence. 5 seconds. 10. "They ask about you. Not every day, but when things break. When they don't know how to fix something. When a bill comes in and I can't cover it. They never say it out loud. But I see it. They feel it." I deleted it without saving. Because regret isn't an apology. And need isn't love. The next message came in the mail. Thick envelope. Brandon's handwriting. Inside. A letter, 3 pages long, front and back. He wrote about how school had changed. How he dropped out of college because his grades had tanked. How his father, his real father, had ghosted again, this time with a new girlfriend, a new job, a new city. He said he was sorry. He said he didn't know what he had until it was gone. He said he didn't know how much I had done until no one was left to do it. I didn't write back. I didn't need to, because that letter wasn't a bridge. It was a mirror. And Brandon was finally seeing his reflection. Ellie never wrote. But Haley got a message from her on Instagram. Just a picture. An old one. The 4 of us in front of the Christmas tree. The last year I put lights on the roof. I remembered that night. Carol was cold. Brandon was on his phone. Ellie was smiling, but only for the camera. Haley's arms were around my neck. The caption under the photo said, "Wish things had been different." Haley showed it to me. I told her, "They could have been." That's what hurt the most. It didn't have to end this way. They had choices. Every day. Opportunities to say thank you. To include us. To try. They chose silence. They chose loyalty to a ghost over gratitude to a man who showed up every damn day. And when the cost of their contempt came due, they looked around and realized the bank was closed. I kept track of the math, 3 years. $74,200. 11. Rent, food, phones, clothes, school fees, gas money, birthday cakes, medical bills, dance recitals, football cleats. And I would have kept giving. I would have drained myself dry, just to hear one sentence that never came, "You matter here." But they couldn't say it. Because Carol never required it. Because she let her children use my love like it was free Wi-Fi, expected, unappreciated, ignored until it was gone. She didn't protect me. She didn't stand up for me. She let me drown in that house, then called me cruel when I swam to shore. Now she was neck-deep in the tide. And I wasn't coming back. Not to save her. Not to suffer again. Sometimes, I sit on the porch, the lake glittering in front of me, Haley humming in the background as she paints another piece of the world she finally feels safe in. And I think about the man I used to be. The one who believed love could fix anything. The one who thought sacrifice would be enough. I buried that man with the house keys I left on the kitchen counter. So now I ask you, whoever's still listening, whoever's nodding along thinking I've been there, was I wrong? Was I wrong to finally demand respect instead of just hoping for it? Was I wrong to walk away from a family that never truly let me in? Or was I simply late in realizing that love without loyalty is just labor? You tell me, because I already made my peace. And this time, peace doesn't come with a price tag.